Doing DéVon Christopher Johnson. I am the co-founder and CEO of BOMESI and the founder and CEO of BLEU Media Group, both based here in New York City.
Diversified game. Learn how to start, run, and sustain your business.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, I'm going to give you some game, man. You're going to get it from somebody who's doing it. And one question I'm going to ask him is that Harvard education, how that impacted him? But we'll get into all of that, right? Because, you're a Harvard man, and it's not just just the certificate you got in 12 weeks. We're going to get into all that. But welcome to the show, DéVon. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Good morning to you.
Man, good morning, man. Let the people know what you've cooked up, and did you cook it up in Harvard? The impact of that. Were you in one of those, frats that you were like, wait, I got an idea, and they were able to fund it? Because a lot of times people say, how did someone get there? They see the education and they say, oh, of course, it was easy. But it doesn't work like that no matter where you go to school or where you come from. So give us the game. How did we get here?
Yeah, man. Listen, the Harvard did not fund my company, so I'll start with that. But it did change my mindset, and it changed my network and how I network, and the intentionality around who and how I speak and how I show up, and the ambition and the belief in all that I'm doing. I have a degree. I don't have a business degree from Harvard. I have a degree in journalism. I have a liberal arts degree from Harvard. So for me, it wasn't about going in there to raise money. It was for me to understand folks in this environment, folks that go through this school, whatever happens on this campus in lovely, beautiful Cambridge, Massachusetts. I wanted to absorb that in a non-pressurized way. I think oftentimes if you just go to B school, it's really about just, okay, am I going to raise money? Am I going to work at Goldman, et cetera? I wanted to really feel what it felt like to walk around campus and absorb. I don't use the word privilege, but it is a privilege to go to an Ivy League school. It's a privilege to go to Harvard University. It's a privilege to be in an environment that's safe and liberal, and allows you to express and ask questions and challenge and talk back and present alter arguments to different cases. So for me, it was beyond just me, the degree I got. And yes, it's a proper master's degree. It wasn't an accelerated 12-week certificate program, and those are great for those people who do that. But for me, I lived in the dorms. I live in on JFK Boulevard, Adams House. And yeah, I mean, it was a wonderful experience for me. And I did that as an adult. Like, I didn't go straight from undergrad. I have an undergrad degree also from Seton Hall University in communications. I went to grad school about 10 years after I finished undergrad, because I'd already started my business. I was already getting some traction and growing, but I wanted to shift my mindset because I didn't understand why I wasn't growing faster, right? I didn't understand why I wasn't meeting the right people. I didn't understand why the network I had, even though I have a wonderful, beautiful, amazing network, wasn't giving me the fruit that I needed. So I know going to that environment definitely made the change. So I have absolutely no regrets. And I will sing the praises of Harvard University wherever I go. It always seems to come up, even when I don't mention it. So.
Oh, it has to, because your publicist sent it out like that. So, we figured that they want to talk about that, or they want that highlighted, right? And, you also, went to the Harvard of Def Jam, being the Harvard of, the way we came up, like if you could get a Def Jam deal, man, who cares if you went to school? Like, how do we get there? Because that takes effort. Go ahead.
That's a great tie-in, and I love that you tied it in that way, because the truth is, there's nothing greater than, at the time, in the golden era of hip hop, to have a job as a young 21-year-old in the golden era of hip hop at Def Jam, right? The quintessential hip hop music environment to be in. They had just went through the merger with Polygram and created the Island Def Jam Music Group. We had Def Soul with Kelly Kelly Price on that album. We had Dru Hill. Then we had Murder Inc. We had Rockefeller. All these amazing folks. DMX was in the office. Irv Gotti's in the office. Jay-Z's in the office. Ja Rule's in the office. And I was even there when Island Def Jam signed Mariah Carey. So a pretty wide range of opportunity. But what I saw the importance there was about the brand, right? Def Jam as a brand was undeniable and unstoppable, right? It is, at the time I was there, I think every album we put out was in the top 10, if not number one. When it came out, this is when people were still buying CDs, when CDs were $16, $17, $18. So you can imagine the amount of revenue, the amount of opportunity that was happening all around me. So that was an amazing opportunity. So to tie it into the Harvard thing, I was in a 5-year program at Seton Hall to get my MBA after my senior year of undergrad. I got the job at Def Jam that summer, and I never went back to finish my degree. So that's the reason why 10 years later, when I got my master's degree from Harvard, it was about completion for me because I had already had the opportunity and I didn't do it after undergrad because I got the job at Def Jam. And how I got there, a friend was working there. She was working in the publicity department, and the marketing department was expanding, looking for an assistant. And I was like, yo, give them my resume. Let's see what they say. Now here's important. I was working at the Gap in the mall, right? At that Short Hills Mall. I was folding t-shirts when she gave my resume in. So I had no chance of getting a job at Def Jam. I didn't do any internships in undergrad. I was not a music major at all. Lucky for me, they were looking for someone in that department. And shout out to Shanita Floyd, who's my first boss, and we're still good friends now. Took a chance on this kid that had ambition, but had no experience. And I showed up to an interview on time. I wore a suit. They were having a meeting with Jay-Z that day. I never forget. So they ended up interviewing me an hour later. And I sat outside her office in a little chair while they were inside with Jay-Z. And I was so frustrated that when Jay-Z came out, I didn't even look up because I was sitting there heated that I had to wait to be interviewed. The arrogance, right, of youth, the arrogance of a 21-year-old. So I ignored Jay-Z. He walks out the office and goes about his business. They interview me, all good. A week later, I'm out at a popular at the time club downtown called Joe's Pub in Soho, in Manhattan. Well, technically NoHo. And one of the folks that interviewed me was at the bar, at the club. And I was a little tipsy. At this point, my hair for the interview was like in a little mini fro, but in the club, it was in cornrows. And I had on fatigues. And this arrogance, right? I tap her on the shoulder. Yo, what happened? Y'all interviewed me a week ago. What happened? And she was like, we get back to you. We had other people to interview. The next day they called me. I had the job. And why I had the job was because of the cornrows, right? This interesting twist there. They got to see two sides, right? I showed up on time. I had my suit on. I was patient. I didn't fan out, right? But then on the other side, when it came to nightlife, a lot of music industry at that time was about events and nightlife. They saw that I can flip it. So I can do the corporate thing, but I can also relate to the artists and the music on the other side of it. And that's how I got the job. And I tell people all the time, like I'm one of the original AIs, right? Arrogant and ignorant, right? That's who I am. It's that I showed up in places, believing I can do and be a thing without actually knowing how to make that happen.
You've tried it your way, but you're still in debt. Or maybe you're doing okay, but want to invest smarter, grow faster. MillionaireX.ai gives you real step-by-step strategies to ditch debt or stack wealth. Stop dreaming and start planning. Visit MillionaireX.ai today. I want you to be the next millionaire next door.
We've all been there because I'm from the industry, and I remember doing the Cash Money. You remember when Cribs came? I remember doing a press junket. Yeah, and when family saw my cover story on Explosive Magazine, hey, will you sign the cover and the stories? And I'm like, I've done how many other stories before that, but you want this one because I'm sitting with Cash Money and interviewing, Baby and all them. And I said, your head you start thinking I am the talent. So we've all been there. We've all been there. It's part of, this is a boo-boo industry anyway. So you understand that, the genuine people you'll meet anyway are very rare. You might be able to count them on one hand, maybe, but everybody wants something from you. So we're dealing with, getting that. And then, you didn't stop there. You went and now you have your own, you have your BLEU Magazine. You're talking about, blackownedmedia.org. Tell people, how did we get there, what did you see to say, oh, wait, we need this. We're not being represented, or not enough people are talking about this. This is going to be my purpose.
Yeah, listen, man, as wonderful and amazing as my time at Def Jam was, and I went on to work at Atlantic Records, to help launch Asylum with Paul Wall, Mike Jones. Rap-A-Lot had a partnership with Atlantic. We took over the old Electra offices at the time. And then I went on to Universal Music Group, worked in the corporate setting, dealing with label operations across the various labels under the Universal umbrella. However, being part of a machine that puts out music, marketing, MTV Cribs, etc. That wasn't my actual reality, right? So I'm a private school kid, went to college, never wanted to be a rapper, liked playing sports, but never thought I had to be an athlete to make it out. And there's nothing wrong with folks that did that. But we've only had one narrative about what it is to be a black man in America. Then we have young black men only wanting to be one or two things versus feeling like they can be anything they want to. So rather than complain about that, I created something to counter that, right? And that's where BLEU Magazine was born out of. I wanted to enhance, not necessarily redefine, but enhance a perception of black men in America through media, but also how we see ourselves, not just how other people, non-black people see us, but also how we see ourselves. I wanted us to know we had optionality. We had chances to be doctors, lawyers, writers, rappers, philosophers, poets, uh, stylists, writers, etc. I wanted to get that opportunity. And so many of my friends were in that creative space and weren't getting opportunities, right? So you can't get a job at Vogue if you don't have a book of work. But how do you get a book of work if no one hires you? And if no one hires you because they don't see a value in who you are, then you won't ever get to achieve that dream. So me, it's really about like, how do I put my friends on? How do I leverage relationships I had from Def Jam and Universal and Atlantic to create my own media platform, to give opportunities to myself and to my friends? And that's kind of the precipice of how BLEU started. In my Harlem apartment on the floor, I pulled sheets from every magazine I was reading at the time and put together this thing that I thought represented who we were. And here we are 19 years later, still one of the only Black-owned print magazines in the country. We distribute 7 times a year. We've done 101 covers at this point. And we're still going, right? Next year, we celebrate our 20th anniversary. That was great, and I love it. It's been my passion. It's still my passion, but it hasn't been easy. And in 2020, when all these brands were making these pledges after the murder of George Floyd around supporting diversity, DEI, all these pledges, I'm like, yeah, so here's the thing. You haven't helped me up until this point. There's no way you're going to help me now just because you put a pledge out or put a black square on your Twitter or Instagram page. So that's where BOMESI was born of. BOMESI at the time stood for Black-Owned Media Equity and Sustainability Institute. We've now grown to Black and Diverse-owned media because we realized that although we were fixing Black-owned media, LGBTQ, AAPI, Hispanic, women, disabled, veterans, we're all having the same sort of issues, cracking the ceiling or getting the door open for advertisers and marketing to spend dollars with them. And we focused on infrastructure building, not just a money grab. So there are other organizations that started around the same time as we did. And some of them aren't around anymore or not around in the same capacity because for them it was about how do we draw down or extract more dollars. And for us, it's been about how to build infrastructure. And using my own company, BLEU, of that, at the time, 14-year struggle to get to that place and keep the lights on and the doors open, I took all those learnings and poured that into what we do over here at BOMESI.
Hello everyone! Join us on an exciting journey with Explore the World Cameroon. London and Sydney go take you explore Cameroon, the heart of Africa. Experience the vibrant culture, nature, and traditions from Yaoundé market to rainforest adventures. Every page na new discovery. Enjoy the Cameroonian food, music, and wildlife with our explorers. This book na true celebration of Cameroon spirit. Get your copy now. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and through your library and bookstores via Ingram's Park. Don't miss this adventure.
Okay, and you guys, just for clarification, because he said two trigger words. He said for some of y'all that are looking for clickbait, he said Harlem, but before that, he said a book of work. You can confirm that Vogue, when we talk about a book of work, like Dame says, he got some work. It wasn't the same work. It was the portfolio, correct? It wasn't the same work that Dame is talking about.
I talk about a book of like a book of photos, of a book of writings.
Your portfolio, you know, you saw. Yeah. I just want to make sure, because kids who don't know, like some kid, like I used to have a stack of all the magazine articles and things I've done. And like, what is that? Like, why do we have that? Why not just digitize it? Which I then just, did the cheap way on Facebook. But, hey, yeah, that's what happens when you have a wife. She'll tell you it's okay to let these go, whatever. But, but are you from New York?
I'm from New York, so I'm a New Yorker living in New York. I'm originally from Queens, raised in Long Island, lived in Brooklyn after undergrad, and now I moved to Manhattan, living in Harlem. But I'm a New Yorker. My mom's from New York, dad's from New York, my grandmother's from New York. So yeah, I'm a third generation New Yorker.
Okay. Do you drive?
I drive.
You drive? Okay. Because some of y'all don't drive, and I'm like, so that's one.
I told you I was raised in Long Island, right? So that's why I have the car. But all my friends that were only raised in New York City, some don't even have a license, which I think is interesting. Not a good or bad thing. But I'm like, yo, what if you want to like rent a car? Well, no, I'll take Uber. I'm like, but before Uber, what were you gonna do when you were out of town? You had to get like a taxi? Like it's crazy to me. So yeah, I'm a New Yorker with a driver's license that drives.
Awesome. And I'm old school New York, when Clue used to have his tapes and we would go to Soho or other places to get them. You guys would have music on Clue tapes 2 years before we got it in Cali. Like people like, how'd you get this music? I'm 15, 16, with a Rolex that I got from New York. Y'all don't ask too many questions. That thing didn't stop ticking. I felt New York, from Manhattan where we were staying, looking at the skating rink at Rockefeller, to you boys who like to do the low jack or high jack, however you like to say. Like New York is that, and you'll get it. You'll get it if you were there. I couldn't get into the tunnel. I didn't get a beard or anything until I couldn't get in the tunnel.
My beard is new, but I was able at the very end of the tunnel. I've had quite a few tunnel nights, and I missed the bulk of it. Like maybe the last year of it being open, I got to go. It was magical for me when I went then, so I can only imagine how magical when I hear the stories and people you hear all the rap songs that mention it, how amazing that was on the west side of Manhattan to have that sort of energy, and that's when people partied and danced, because no one dances anymore. Everyone just stands around. This is like when you go to a club and you come out sweating. You might catch a cold because it's winter outside and your shirt's soaking wet. That was what New York nightlife was about. Even like a cheetah on Mondays, like that's when New York was a vibe. So I definitely had a chance to experience it.
Yeah, man, the good old days. I gotta go overseas now to have times like that. But it with what is profitable more, and this is for the person who says, I want to be in this industry. I like everything you've said. Magazine, I've done the magazine game as a great distributor and writer and everything else, and seen as a business manager for various. It's a hard game even back then. Has it gotten any easier? Because for you, Claps, to be able to do it for 20 years, even if it was always online, you guys got to understand, you got to deal with the writers, you got to deal with their mess, you got to deal with the editors, your graphics people. GoDaddy keeps going up on price. Sponsors are like, well, show us your numbers. No, we don't want to pay for impressions. Give us the real views and clicks and everything. Give us how you've survived and thrived in that, please.
Yeah, thank you. Survive is a key word here. Thrive is a destination that we're aiming towards. I think not listening to the noise and not trying to be like everyone else. I think the one time I tried to match what I saw someone else doing, oh, but they did that, or Complex did that, or Vice did that. it didn't work for us because that wasn't who we were, right? That's who they were. And both those publications have gone in and out of printing, not printing, in business, not in business. And we've been consistent for 19 years in business with BLEU. I think learning the business and understanding change and then making the adaptation to your business that makes sense. You can't do everything, right? So think about it, like when the social media stuff was happening, you got Facebook, you got Twitter, you got Instagram, you got Pinterest, you got Tumblr. So try to be on all those platforms. Well, actually diluting your audience. What you need to see is where's your audience, measure them, what are they most engaged on, and focus on that thing. So for us, Instagram and Facebook were key for us. So we shut down our Twitter, we shut down our Tumblr, we shut down our Pinterest because we didn't need those platforms. So that's an example of like, how do you adapt your business for what works for you, not trying to be like other people. For other companies that have larger staffs or have more money, more investors, more infrastructure, et cetera, that's great for them to want to spread themselves that thin. But we found for us that didn't make sense. Magazines still matter. Magazines are still profitable, whether you're print or you're digital. You have to just be unique, strategic, have the right partnerships, and you have to deliver. You made a good point about not buying clicks. You had to make sure your audience is real. Advertisers and marketers are a lot smarter now than they were 10 years ago. Where a lot of these .coms had a bunch of fake traffic. They were just traffic farms somewhere in another country, and these brands are spending all this money and they are running through it. That can't happen that way anymore. There's so many companies that go in to verify your traffic, so it has to be real. So you can't win by cheating. That's something that I've always known throughout my life. So I've never like cheated, whether that's in school or in business, or with people. So I think that there's a bit of discipline, some luck, education, obviously, but also just overall like being a good quality person. I think that is the key to success in business. You may measure that in dollars and cents, but people measure you and how you treat them and how you make them feel. I try my best to always lean on being a good person.
Are you a successful entrepreneur or one in training? You've got the vision, but do you have the right partner to build your brand, your team, and your future online and off? At CPRfirm.com, we offer expert consulting, financial guidance, and life coaching because we believe in doing life with our clients. After all, what is it for a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Founded by 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭, we help our clients not only succeed, but plan to retire rich. Your business deserves the best. Start building your legacy today at CPRfirm.com.
Again, in this industry, it is rare, and it's kind of like running for office. You want to do good, and once you get in office, there's some type of metamorphosis, transformation. You've seen people in this business. They might have been the stalker. They get their big deal or whatever, and now you can't tell them nothing, Kanye. You can't tell them nothing, Trump. You can't tell them nothing, and that pride. Watch out, because that fall is coming right after, and if you falling, all that thing hurt.
Pride comes before the fall for sure. So yeah, try to be as kind and nice as possible.
What do you think, since we're talking about kind deeds? I ask everybody, what is a community give back that you're doing or one that you would like to do? And how can the community help you in accomplishing that?
I appreciate that. So, we have something called in the other business, BOMESI, called the BOMESI Accelerator. We bring upstart or print magazines that want to become digital, new digital platforms, new startups, et cetera, do a 10-week accelerator, and we give them non-dilutive capital afterwards. So we've invested close to $700,000 and 31 publishers, and we take no equity from that. We give them the money. They go through this training, and then we give them support on the other side to help grow their business. That's the BOMESI Accelerator. So anyone can apply for that. If you are a media owner, if you're just starting out, or if you're looking for your pivot and you're trying to figure out how do you embrace this new digital era of media. If you don't understand programmatic advertising, you don't understand site load, viewability, visibility, marketing, editorial, SEO, whatever those things are, you can reach out and apply. to the platform. We had 265 folks apply in the past, and we've only accepted 31, and so it's super competitive. But we've had incredible success with those platforms. No publisher that's gone through, or no .com that has gone through our accelerator has closed their business down. They've all become stronger for it, and they're all still in business. In addition to that, BOMESI does the BOMESI Summit, where we bring together entrepreneurs, creators, advertisers, marketers, writers to the city of Detroit. We're returning to Detroit next year for the third year. It's the fifth time we're doing it overall, but the third time we're doing it in Detroit. And that's BOMESI Summit, taking place June 3rd to June 7th, 2026. And then if you know any writers, our publishers are always looking for real writers, not AI writers, like actual people that put words from their brain onto a document and give human thought and framing around it, written, edited by humans. So if you're a writer looking for a place to craft your skills, you should reach out to us. And that's
when the links will be in the description, all of them. So most of our people are listeners, and you guys stop driving or whatever you're doing, go safely, look at that. But for the writers, that's how I started in this game. And I talk to people, and I consult now with AI and, business. But I ask people, do you think it's better now that everybody has perfect punctuation? Because they go from ChatGPT to Claude to Grammarly to Quillbot, back to maybe chat. And if you still don't take out those dashes, we know you're AI. But for those who are smart enough to say, let me take out the dashes because nobody writes at the dash. What do you, rarely, I should say, because somebody will say, well, the MLA style. No, I'm not talking about that. What do you think, and how can you tell something is AI? And is it better now that people have great diction versus, not? Because some people, when you would look at stuff as an editor, you'd be like, are we in college? Or did you go to college? Like, what's going on? So give us the game on your opinion on AI, please.
Yeah, listen, AI is something that we have to embrace, right? So it's not going anywhere. It's part of the ecosystem. It's part of business. It's part of everything that we do. But AI can't replace you, right? So you can help organize your thoughts. You can say, hey, take this document that I wrote and give me the 10 key summary points so I can add that to an email draft. But to rely on AI to do your work for you, it's clear it lacks the human component. Part of being human is that we're imperfect. Part of being human is that we do make mistakes. Part of being human is that we do have opinions and points of view and experiences in real life that frame how we respond or write or say things. And it's clear to me as an editor of a publication, as an academic who loves going to school and loves learning, when something's not written by, or at least thought about by, a human. Some of these tools like Grammarly, yes, it does clean things up, and I think it's great. Our writers use Grammarly. And again, AI, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini, to help organize your thoughts. I think these are all great enhancements, but you can't take yourself out of it. And then the worst thing to do is for you to use AI to create something and you just hand that in. You don't even read that shit yourself. I don't know if I can curse, sorry. But like, you don't bother reading it. So like, you don't even know what's on the page. Like, that is incredibly lazy. And you're making yourself less and less smart every time you do that. So at least go in and ask you, if you don't want your editors to see it, you go edit the AI and get that right. So, but embrace it. I think it's efficient. And anyone that thinks that it's just not here to stay, it's part of our everyday life, will be 10 years behind in the next 30 days from everyone else. So it's time to embrace it, learn it, understand it, and use it as a tool. The same way you would have an assistant in real life, or you have a housekeeper, or you have a gardener to cut your grass. It's the same sort of help, service, support that you have in those capacities.
Now, where do you think, because there's some master prompters out there, and even we have prompted websites using different AIs. And so you have, your generic prompts and your authentic prompts. and these terms are just coming out of nowhere, right? You have to be like, wait, what is this? What is this? But for those of us, because I've used AI for 8 years, I did my oldest, her first book was using AI. It's a crossword puzzle book. Only way an 8-year-old or 7-year-old could do a crossword puzzle book, AI, because it did all the graphics and everything like that. I was leasing out my friend's code. Where do you think we should stop? Because I could have the idea, I could have the master prompt. I'm talking about quantum computing, but I need to put it in terms that your end user can have. So let me use the Charleston White tone. Let me use, Tasha K and things that people can, massive people, you understand that most people aren't as smart as they think they are. And it's proven because they won't test themselves. And that's what happens when you go to school. You're testing your education. And so what do you think about doing stuff like that? And would your magazine accept it? Because let's say you have, Miss Dr. Tyson on talking about quantum computing. Most people are even Cornell West, Dr. Cornell West, people are like, what did he say now? Especially these kids. They can't even read that non-digital clock. So is it okay to use it then for your publication?
So for our publication for BLEU, we do not accept AI articles. We just don't. We have a group of trusted writers that we work with, and we vet our writers to make sure that they are actual writers and not just submitting something. Because here's the thing: if you're going to submit to me an AI article, then I can just get the AI to do it myself. I don't need to have the human in there. The whole point of me paying you as a writer is because I'm paying you as a writer, versus I can cut costs and just have AI write everything. But if I do that, then my audience won't feel the need to even have me as a voice. The reason why we have a relationship with our audience and people who come onto BLEU Life is because we have that contract that what we're saying to them is based on what we feel and we believe, and you believe that thing too. It's a two-way partnership and assumption that we're both being honest with each other. They're honest with their feedback, meaning their dollars. Are they going to buy our publication? They're going to do our things and click on our site. And we're honest that what we're giving them is vetted authentically to humans. Is that a forever thing? I don't know, right? And I want to be honest about that, because as the world changes and people do become less smart and don't want to have thought-provoking information at them, what does that look like? Well, maybe that's a different type of publication. Maybe it's a different type of app. Maybe it's a different type of business that they tap into. But for this, we have humans write stories. We have people in clothes in our fashion spreads. We have artists that actually make their music and put it out, that we put on covers. We have actors that are human actors, not avatars. So that is who we are. We believe, I believe, listen, I have a master's degree in journalism. I believe in the written word, and I believe in the power of the pen. And I believe in the human brain. And I think the human brain, that which created AI, is still the most superior thing that we can exercise on a daily basis. So yeah, I'm understanding AIs for business enhancement. It can read a spreadsheet, it can organize my files. That's great. But the opinions expressed through BLEU come from humans.
We're talking about humans, and I want to talk about your possible cousin. I don't know if it's on your mother or your father's side, Jason Lee. And it's not just because you're light skinned or just because you're immediate. But you talked about, providing a big sum of money to companies. And Jason Lee is one of those who's been very vocal and open about how much money, his company has made. And sometimes, projections, you and I know, some of this money isn't real. Are you liquid with that? And a lot of business owners will tell you, no, I'm not liquid with that. Elon Musk has said it. But have you seen people in this space like Jason and others, not to call anyone out negatively, are we working together? Because Black folk, and yours is very heavily focused on Black, so is Jason. If we all, I represent the African Diaspora News Channel. We're the most followed Black news thing on YouTube for the last at least decade, and I've almost been there a decade working with Phil. Are we all coming together? Is there one conference that you say, hey, we can meet, even though we may do separate things? You may not even like that person because they slapped your mama back in '83, whatever, right? are we talking to each other, or are you going to create a space and an event that we can do that because we know it's needed more than ever?
So yeah, interesting. Jason and I are friends. We've been friends both before we both had our companies. In the moment I moved to LA for 90 days. At one point, and we became friends. We became friends then. Yeah, listen, BOMESI Summit is a place where we all can come together. BOMESI Summit falls under BOMESI Foundation, which is a nonprofit. So us working together isn't for any personal gain. It's for the gain and growth of all of us in this industry, especially sustaining Black-owned media and Black-owned media businesses. I am always open to extended olive branch or a handshake or invite in to that space. I do think we need to put more effort. I just did a panel 2 weeks ago with the PR network. You can find it on Facebook. I mean on LinkedIn with 5 publicists, and about 200 people showed up to this Zoom talking about how does Black-owned media and Black publicists work together. You know, don't ignore us on a red carpet. Don't ignore us when your client gets big, when you used us all along to write these stories to blow your client up. Same sort of thing applies to how Black-owned media sees each other. We should see each other as peers, right? And competition is good in business, but we shouldn't seek to annihilate each other. Like, it shouldn't be about, hey, let me destroy you so you no longer exist, so I only exist. Annihilation is not the way to grow the Black-owned media ecosystem. It is to work together in a friendly competition, right? You know, Facebook and Google are competitors, but they need each other as competitors to prove the market for each other to exist. And we need to understand that part. Like, for some reason, Black-owned media has been told only one can exist. It can only be Essence or Ebony. It only can be, Black.
Jet. Don't forget Jet. Don't forget Jet.
Jet. Jet was a beast, and Jet should still be around right now. It was just the right amount of words and the right amount of images and the right size for the
in the right beauty, and the right beauty,
the beauty of the week.
Yeah.
Which yeah, I mean, Jet was controversial with all the things, but it would be great right now. So shout out to Jet if you guys come back. Yeah, but annihilation, I don't think it's the way to look at each other. It should be, how do we work together and come together? And there's a space for it. BOMESI is a space for that. BOMESI is a resource for anyone. It's not just for those that we know. It's for anyone that wants to watch one of our webinars, attend one of our town halls, come to our conference to meet and see each other. And we work with most of the Black-owned media platforms in a agnostic, non-competitive sort of way. And we love to extend that. And again, because you mentioned Jason, I don't think we are related, but we are cool.
Oh, okay. And I want to say Vice Mayor Jason Lee, because he won his city council seat, and got a yeah. And I'm from the Bay, and I'll tell you, being from Oakland, there was a time where when we go to the BET Awards, you got to go through Stockton and all those places. You don't want to stay too long. Saying, man, we got it good. Like, there's beautiful parts of Stockton. Don't get it twisted. But the meth and everything has really, so it can really tap in. The most profitable places in cities, like in Manhattan, even for all the ups and downs the city has had, it's still going to be Manhattan. And it's, and now certain parts of Harlem are now, it's at East Manhattan, when it got nice and got good. And we got to thank the white people and Paul Mooney, and he rest in peace. We got to thank, Bill Clinton and all of them coming through. And, Apollo didn't even look like Apollo. This is Apollo. This is Apollo.
AKA renovation right now. Yeah. I mean, that's where I'm at. I'm in Harlem right now. Harlem is a vibe. So I'm glad I stuck it out. So,
yeah, thank God. What can, with the media partners, because I deal with a lot of people in media, what can they do? Because when people come and they own platforms, of course, they all want to speak. Everybody wants to get paid. but sometimes we gotta just have lunch. Sometimes we gotta say, you know what, we're gonna go to places and travel just to break bread so we can use all of our resources. Because if I can make X amount of $1 million on TikTok or YouTube and you can make it online, why don't we come together and have one big portal? So once we got one person, we all got them. And I think that's what the tokenization will all come to. But what does it take to apply to be a speaker? What do ticket prices cost for the fans and the supporters who we all need to be able to lift this lifestyle for the last 20 years? What does it take money wise?
Whew, that's a loaded question you have there. It's not easy. I'm gonna say two things. Breaking bread, going to lunch, going to dinner, a conversation doesn't go to get coffee. That doesn't even have to be a dinner. You can meet with someone, you can meet with me, meet with my co-founder, you can meet with anyone that's in our ecosystem over coffee, over avocado toast, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be something super expensive. For BOMESI, you know, the services we provide are all free for those who want to learn and get to know about media and ad tech and all these things. Our conference in Detroit, BOMESI Summit, we give away a certain amount of scholarships. So free travel, free hotel, and free admission to about 100 applicants each year, because we know it's expensive. If you are a small media company and you got to decide whether to keep the lights on or pay your internet to keep the business going, or buying this flight or this hotel room for this conference, we understand how hard the decision is to make. So we try our best to underwrite that and make it for you to come. And so many folks who have come through have said, had it not been for this conference or had it not been for BOMESI, I would not be in business, or I would have given up yesterday, or I got to meet people and now we're working together. We're working on this thing. We have this new partnership. We've now combined this resources. So those are the two things I say. If you are able to make meetings and go meet people and break bread, go do that, because you don't have to always do it inside the office. Zooms are cool. We're on a Zoom right now, right? But I do believe in shaking hands and feeling energy with people. Luckily, you have lots of energy that even comes through on a Zoom. So I feel like I'm sitting here right with you. But everyone doesn't have that. They need that in-person experience. And then on the BOMESI resources side, BOMESI offers our services for free, and opportunities for those who do come to our summit in June for us to subsidize some of that cost for you if you have need for that.
Awesome. Yes, everyone doesn't have it, but everybody hasn't gone through, certain things. And people say, why do you deal with death so well? I said, I think I touched my first dead body at 12. My uncle made us touch his friend's body before, and then, less than a year later, he was murdered. So, how you look at death is how you might have had to deal with death. So you got to protect your mind and your peace and read them scriptures and understand what this whole thing is about. What is the one thing that you would tell either the 14-year-old or the 44-year-old or older who wants to get in this game? Because the 14-year-old still has hope, but he doesn't know anybody 9 out of 10 times. The 44-year-old has been through so much. I don't know how to put this together. And they say, would you mentor me? Please, DéVon, would you mentor me? Not for free. I'm going to say it. Don't hit him up because you heard this for free while you go get Starbucks, Mercedes, and, buy your girl booties and all that. Not for free. But what would you tell them, or even books? What type of life advice could you give them to, get on that track to win?
Yeah, I think you mentioned books. I think reading books is super important. There are 3 books that I read every year, just to make sure I keep my mind right. You get them on Amazon, or you can go to one of those dollar bookstores and get them. One is Good to Great by Jim Collins. The other is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. The other one is called Walk Away Wealthy, and that's by Mark Tepper. And all 3 of these books combined help me get my framing right. Like, what am I doing this for? Like, what is my exit? What is the point where it's either too hard or too easy that I need to make an adjustment? And if it's too hard, If I want to walk away, how do I walk away with wealth, whether that's monetary wealth or emotional health, mental health, family health, wealth, etc. And then 0 to 1, if I can sell you one thing, if I can sell a whale, one drop of water, then I can sell the whole ocean, right? And then good to great, there are some good companies out there, right? But great companies, the ones that we think about when we say, you know, an American company that's been great and amazing, what made them great? What changes or what sacrifices did they have to make to become great companies? And I remind myself of that, you know, over and over again. Those are the 3 books. And then the Bible, I think, of a Black man in business is Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? One of the greatest books, you know, ever written. And it's always just reference that, even just a chapter every once in a while. That's the consistent Bible that's always around.
And what's crazy about that book, he didn't even get to finish it.
He didn't get to finish it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much more, right? There was so much more.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm gonna get on my soapbox. This is why, Uncle Al Heyman, you need to write your book, because there's so much game that certain people have, but they won't write the book down. They won't do an interview. They won't do anything. But we could have used some more of that game to help all of us, especially the readers. I could go on for days. I could go Joe Rogan style, but the man has his own media company where you can go get more game. I did not see a YouTube link on any of the sites. You stick with what you know, maybe, and say, I like the writing.
YouTube, there's there BLEU Life Media or BLEU Magazine has a YouTube channel. So all of the videos that we have from our photo shoots, interviews, etc., are all there. So you can definitely go on to YouTube and find us.
Okay. It wasn't on the website. So yeah.
Oh, you know, like this is thank you. That's like some free business advice right there. I didn't even realize it's not linked. So immediately let's get the team to get that together.
Definitely. Man, I appreciate you. I hope the conference I see was in June 6th. So will it always be in June, or you got to do like South by Southwest and take it on the road?
It's going to be in June, early June, because it's mid-year. That's when brands are rethinking budgets, and there's some new money coming up for the 4th quarter. So it'll be in June for the foreseeable future.
Okay, sounds good. I know you. I can hear the haters. I know South by Southwest is in Austin. I see you there. Maybe I won't. You can watch from the YouTube. But they've also gone to London and other places with South by Southwest, and that's a conference that is like, wow. You know, at least back in the day it was, and it's only it expanded with tech and different things. But yeah, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys as listeners for making the time, making it to the end. Can you please go check out the man's websites, links in the description. You can comment, you can like, but most importantly, I need you to share this game with somebody who will change their life. Y'all be blessed.
Are you tired of the violence, tired of the injustice, police brutality, rampant discrimination, lack of gun control in this failed biased socioeconomic experiment called America? Or maybe you need a break from the relentless grind and want to regain control of your destiny, your wealth, your health, and your purpose. DiversifiedGame.com has the right course for you. Prepare for my first trip to Africa. Looking to reconnect with your roots, start a new business, or just a fresh start. Africa, aka the motherland, is waiting. Don't let the Chinese and the Mzungus have the fun and also take over the motherland. From Cairo to Mombasa, from Dakar to Cape Town, Africa has something for everyone, from business opportunities to the most amazing people, safety, leisure, and landscapes. The opportunities abound. It is time for the diaspora to reconnect with their roots. Time to reconnect with the birthplace of humanity. Africa is the last frontier. Get your head in the game and reclaim your legacy. The writing is on the wall. Babylon is falling. Give up the stress, grind, and violence inflicted on our people on this continent, and prepare for a journey of restoration and joy by connecting with the land of your ancestors. Check out our new course and kick off your adventure at diversifiedgame.com.